That was amazing, dude. Everybody can hear me, correct? Is this thing on pretty good? I got this. I got this thing on right?
Yes, on.
It's on?
Just put it really close to me right there.
Okay, put it close to my mouth. Okay. I really don't need the mic. My mouth, I got a big mouth. Bet, right? Man, it's a blessing to be back up here, man. I love coming to church. I love being here. I look forward to it every week. I wasn't able to be here, last week because we went to the beach, and I was just like, man, we got to miss church. I get to where I look forward to it. It's not just ready to, oh, we got to do this for 2.5 hours or 2 hours. It's like, man, I want to be back. I enjoy being here. I thought about it all week, even if I'm not up here speaking, and it's Patrick or if it's Alan or Scott. I'm ready to be here. I'm just ready to be here. I don't have to do anything. Just sit down and just be in the presence. So I had the honor of preaching at One Accord Church, and then of course I think it was the week before that. I was able to preach here, and so this is a continuation of in recovery mode. The title of this message is Pressure Applied, and I spoke on this a little bit whenever I opened up the service. About reapplying the pressure. Considering that, life is always applying pressure to us. Or, if it ain't life, if it ain't the devil, it's the demons. If it ain't the demons, it's other people, So I wanted to expound on the word pressure. Now, before I go to any verse, I got some things I want to lay out, and then I'm going to give you the reference. So the word pressure means continuous physical force exerted on or against an object by something in contact with it. And then another definition is the use of persuasion, influence, or intimidation to make someone do something. And like I just said, life is, every day it's a constant thing. You wake up in the morning, something's ready to hit you. Sometimes it just hits you in the middle of the night and don't even want to let you sleep. So, every single day, every time you are taking a breath, there's always something. Always something. And now, I Googled how many verses in the Bible are about do not fear or fear not, right? And then it come up, it said, the explanation was it is said that there's around 365, don't be afraid, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. And I was just like, and somebody said a long time ago, well, that's because it's for one day of the year, and there's 364, 5 days, a year. So it's one for every single day. I was like, man, God's sending a message, right? Well, don't be afraid. But I think it's deeper than just don't be afraid. Because when it comes to Jesus, He's more than just surface level. There's so much more into it whenever He says, fear not. And the Lord gave this to me. He said, it's about understanding my promise. So I was like, fear not, right? That's easy to say, but it's like, Lord, is that all you're saying? No, understand my promise. There's a reason why He's saying, just simply fear not. Because Satan's always looking. Satan's always on the prowl, right? I'm going to pull up the scriptures on this. So you brought it up, and I have it wrote down. There's quite a things that was said that I've already got in my notes. You don't have to go to this one, but this is just something I've got wrote down. Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Believe me, I was back here showing her. I was like, oh my God, this is in my notes. There I said the word bro. I'm going to do my best to not repeat that word as many. I'm so used to saying it with my kids and my wife. And of course, when I got to preach at One Accord. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in places. That is such a popular scripture, right? Wrestle means verse remaineth. To endure for a while, to endure for a while. So obviously there's an agenda behind this. Obviously it's calculated. It's a thought out process for us as believers. Everybody in here. But then again, you don't even have to be a believer because there's always an agenda against ones that don't. Right? And then what happens when somebody's got an agenda? They push it forward, right? They want to carry it out. And evil spirits is not a strike and run type deal. They want to stay. They don't want to go anywhere. It's always, hey, we're going to stay here as long as we can. And we're going to push and push and push. And they know the ones that are going to allow it and allow it to stay. They know it. These evil spirits know exactly who you are. They know where you sit at church. They know what time you get up in the morning. They know what time you go to bed. They know what time you sit down and eat dinner. They know these things. It ain't like it's just a spur of the moment type thing. They have something against you. Your flesh is the same way. These are calculated attacks. If they can convince you to let them in, they are staying. They ain't going anywhere. It don't no matter what you say. All they got to do is put pressure. All right, get ready for a long ride because they ain't going nowhere. This is how it is. So I looked at the word principalities. And the word principality means a commencement, chief, of order, time, or rank, magistrate, power, and rule. It's almost like there's a ranking system in the demonic force. You know how you got the military, right? You got the lieutenant, you got these captains, you got the foot soldiers, you got the sergeant first class, you got all these rankings. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if when it comes to the demonic, that it's the same principle. It's almost like, hey, this platoon is assigned to this family. Wouldn't shock me one bit. Seems kind of like, okay, well, you know, you got a certain demon assigned to certain families. You got these families that are dealing with certain spirits, and this other family, you know, deals with this. They don't like you. This is all the time, every morning, every day. That caught my attention. I was just like, bro, you got a whole military against you, man. In the demonic, 100%. And you got Satan as the ruler of these individuals. They are calculated, man. But see, we get so caught up in the flesh. What happens, right? It comes up here. It starts affecting our mind, right? So then you start creating scenarios. You know, I've mentioned this before. We start building things up in our mind, right? Like, you're going to war. I've done built up in my mind how it's going to go, and it hasn't even started yet. So what do? You prepare, right? Like, oh man, this is coming. Anytime a boxer or a football player, whatever the case may be, they build it up before they get to the game. Every athlete, prime example, Zeke, phenomenal basketball player. You build it up in your head before you go out there. You're setting the tone for you and your team, right? That's exactly what you do. Now, I know there's other athletes in here, but this is one I know that's currently, you know, doing it. You know, I know there's other athletes in here, former athletes, you know. But it's built up in our mind. And now, calculated attacks here, but there's something bigger than just anxiety, depression, panic. It's much bigger than that, because everybody's always dealt with some kind of fear, some kind of depression. It doesn't matter. There's always some kind of an attack. Everybody in here can agree we've all dealt with something. Whether we're afraid or you're feeling depressed, anxiety, we all can agree it sucks. 100%, right? But there's something bigger than that. There's something so much bigger than that. And I think that this, like, when these things come up, it's like a testament of like, all right, now you know what it feels like, but then you got God who tells you you're more than a conqueror. So when this comes up, He's showing you, hey, you are more than this situation. You are more than depression. You are more than anxiety. Yeah, it hurts, but don't be afraid. Let's go back to the first start of the sermon. Don't be afraid. That's a calculated attack, but I've already set you up. Amen. Think about that, right? All week I was sitting there, it's so weird when you start preaching or you get this sermon, then all of a sudden the same thing you're preaching about, you start getting attacked with, right? It's so weird. Is it the flesh? What? What'd you say, Richard?
You gotta know what you're talking about.
Bro, come on. There it is. That's twice. I told Levi, I was like, I'm going to do what I can to not say it. But like when that comes up, it's like, whoa, but I'm bigger than that. It's that mindset. It's like, man, that's calculated. But because the Scripture does say I'm more than a conqueror. That's who I am. So it isn't just when He's saying fear not, He's saying you're better than all of these things. Those were set up, but I already have the ending, which I've given you. That shows you you're more. So much easier said than done, right? Because it does hurt. Why is it so much easier to run down a hill than it is to go up? Think about it. To those that like hiking Crowder's Mountain, don't tell me you ain't thinking about running back down before you go up. Or let's think about this. By the time you get up to the top of the mountain, oh my God. Whew, went through that. Because we know that it's so much easier to go down than it is to go up.
And you feel like a conqueror up there.
Well, you do what? And it's like you feel like, hey, I conquered this mountain. I'm up here. The thing is, you could have, that mindset, I'm getting up there. It's going to be, I'm going to sweat. I'm going to exert my body. But I'm getting up there. I might even take a selfie when I get up there. And then tell everybody that I made it to the top of the mountain and I'm still alive. But Why is it, check this out, why is it that when you go up, it doesn't happen as fast, but going down, it's faster? It's almost like it's so easy to slip into than it is to fight against it, because Lord knows I don't want to take the time to go up the mountain. Sometimes it's so much easier just to run back down. You took it out of my mouth. But on the way back down, thank you, I appreciate it. On the way down, it's like, I've done it before where you're like, you get this, you ain't like it going up the mountain though. You can be a prime, you could outrun anybody in here. But I guarantee you're still struggling in some form or fashion when you go up the mountain. It may, like Zeke, I can just see outrun everybody. But eventually, he going to slow down. That's how it is, right? So it's like, but it's so easy. It's like it's so easy to fall into depression, but it's so hard to worship during the depression. One builds, one runs. Again, that just shows you how great God is. The fact that you can keep going. It's a choice of facing it and stepping out and being that. To literally step out. Now I'm going to send you to 1 Samuel 17. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read certain scriptures, then I'm going to skip some scriptures and go to the next, go to the next, go to the next. But just follow along, please. Why didn't nobody tell me my mic fell? It's all right. I figured it out. 1 Samuel 17 and 8. Like I said, this is just a continuation of what I was, preaching on weeks back. And in the midst of my reading, I had some things come up that just, in the middle, you start writing notes and jotting stuff down. Some of the things, Patrick come up here and said, I looked at Nicole, I said, that is my notes. It's amazing how God balances it, right? So, all right, so now let's read. I'm going to go verses 8 through 11. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel and said unto them, why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose a man for you and let him come down to me. And everybody knows who we're talking about. We're talking about Goliath. Just in case somebody didn't understand. If he be able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be and serve us. And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. So they go to the battlefront, but they're not engaging in battle. They're afraid of this man. So they got armor on. But see, sometimes all Satan has to do is holler or for you to see him, and that's all he needs. So it's not necessarily Goliath is straight up, hey, we're fighting today. It's simple words. That's sometimes all Satan has to do is just say something to you, and you're not even going to move. Battle of the mind. If he can put fear in you before you even start fighting, you're going to question your game the entire time. Yeah. You will question it the entire time. You'll always be like, oh, okay, well, we got to do this. And all the man's doing is just hollering. Nothing else. Agenda. Calculation, man. Don't get me wrong. Satan, that demonic is always, they are responsible for a ton of stuff. 100%. But so are we. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, you can't blame Satan for everything. When sometimes he ain't doing nothing but standing there talking exactly as Goliath is. But don't get me wrong, he will call you out. But sometimes that's all he has to do is just talk. Because if I can hear Satan, I start trembling. There it goes again. I know. I'm going to the collar now. All right. Okay, cool deal. But it's he's being prideful. But see, the army was so much stronger than the entire Philistine army. That's who they were. But not then. Whenever he was hollering, bro, we can't. That said it again. But you get to that point where all you do is hear the demonic hollering, and you're not even moving. Because at that point, you start creating scenarios in your mind. You start creating endings that never even happened. Do you know who's in you? There's a reason why there's opposition there. So now I'm going to read another scripture. You don't have to go to this yet. But this is 1 Peter 5, verses 8 and 9. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Resist him steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same sufferings are experienced by your brotherhood in the world. What stood out to me the most is may devour. Needs permission. It's not a guaranteed thing. This is a may devour. If he can, he will. But it's up to you whether or not you're going to allow him to come in your family or in your life.
That's right.
So it's up to you by stepping out. There you become the opposition. Goliath.
It says like a lion. Doesn't say you.
He's a counterfeit.
Right.
I have that in my notes too. I appreciate it. I should have you and Crystal up here preaching with me. Goliath approached with pride. It was a setup from the beginning. And like I said, it's a mind game. We were watching Street Outlaws a while back. And so one of the drivers was fixing to go up against another driver. And he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mess with this guy. So I'm going to buck my car up just a tad bit. Now this is a veteran. His name was Monza, I believe. I remember watching this interview. So he's there talking to the camera and he's like, you know what? I'm going to get him. I'm going to barely go up a little bit. And that's going to cause him to break whenever the wheel starts going. And if you do that before the light goes, you lost. He said, I'm going to get him to mess up. And I'm going to win and not have to exert my engine. Sure enough, he did that, and before the light come on, boom, he took off. Played with him. He won, didn't have to do anything. All right, there's Satan. I'm going to mess with your mind to keep you from that start. Whenever you go to start, I'm going to throw it off. Satan knows who you are, man. Why do you think he wants to prevent you from fighting back? That should be a huge compliment to us. And I started learning the hard way, like man, no wonder you've come against me at the very start, because you don't want to see me in the middle and the end.
Right.
Calculation. We are created with such detail. If you notice, the attacks from Satan are always in detail. You're created in detail. Counterfeit, he has to. But you are created with so much detail. Your minds are powerful. Your mind can make your body feel like it's fixing to die of a heart attack. I used to deal with it. It'll start, whether it's palpitating or it feels like it's stopping, when it's not. It's just your body responding to something. So what it does is like, man, I was so dumb. I'm in the living room, or no, the kitchen, like, oh, check my heart rate. Okay, my heart rate's good. Why do I feel this way? Nicole rolled her eyes at me. I'm like, you don't know what I'm dealing with. Did I not tell you that? Straight up, and it was in the kitchen. This was a long time ago, and I'm like, no, I know my heart rate. I know my body. And that's how it was in the kitchen. And I was fine. Your mind make you feel like you're fixing to die. It make you feel all kinds of things. But the second you give into it, all of a sudden, I got to go to the hospital. I'm having a heart attack. Or are you okay? No, I'm not. You wouldn't be able to talk as clear as you are if you're having a heart attack, babe, but you don't know me.
And how do you get to that?
Exactly. You start giving in at first. When your mind is not in constant defiance against your flesh, these attacks are so much easier calculated, and boom, before you realize it, you're already under attack, and then you say, oh, what's going on? Well, be sober.
What?
Be vigilant. No, you're fine. I mean, no, look, if you feel a word from the Lord, go ahead. I'm not in rejection. But see, here's the thing. But if we use the same kind of power in our mind to promote the depression, to promote the anxiety, imagine if we reversed it for the opposite purpose. For worship. Despite. Because we put so much force into the depression, no wonder it's so powerful. You focus on the depression. No wonder anxiety. That's what anxiety is. I'm already afraid before I got there. You're looking at the entire army of Israel, hasn't even been there yet, and already acting like they lost. Or else they wouldn't know. They were greatly afraid. Oh, we're going to put the armor on, but we don't utilize the armor. So I question, are you really putting on the armor? What are you doing? Is your mind in that muscle that you're working out, or are you just moving? Because if you're just moving weight and you're not doing it the right way, you're not building. So, but we are His workmanship. We are His masterpiece. You are made to go against Satan. You are developed to beat him at everything no matter what. You were made to continuously keep getting up. I might fall down, but I'm able to get up. That's who I am. That's who we are. Now, let's skip down to verse 16. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. So, like she said, they're roaring. 40 days, okay? He's got Israel shaking, not even moving. 40 days and all he's doing is talking. There is a trigger here. It's a trigger. That emotional thing you get when you start going into a panic attack, there's a trigger that caused it. Okay, he's triggered the entire army to not even move. It's almost like Satan knows the past of Israel. This is so calculated, it's right in front. And then as we as believers raised up for this cause, God don't have to bring up a flood. I'm the flood now. I'll get rid of you because I've received Jesus. There's a flood in me, the Word. The Word's in us, right? But 40 days he's just running his mouth. Now he's got Israel back to the same, what do we do? And then they end up, back then when they were worshiping other things. What are you doing? I've set you up against this for a reason. This is who you are. But, that losing mindset still is. There is no such thing as a losing mindset in a believer. No such thing. Learn the hard way. It's not there. It doesn't exist. We fight out of victory. We don't fight out of fear. Right? I think we can all agree on this. We fight out of victory. We are not reapplying pressure. We're just not. We're not reapplying pressure. Like I said, Satan is a counterfeit. I already had that in my notes. But we get in a routine, your flesh starts thinking, then you start responding out of fear like the army was, responding out of fear. You get ready, but then you start doubting, don't understand. It just makes me think, Israel, what was your mind on, man, whenever you come up? Like, it ain't like you didn't know. You want to go back to Samuel? You want to go back here? Don't say you didn't know. It was there. It always has been. But here you are, once again, back to the exact same starting point. Satan knows. When it comes up to going against your flesh and the demonic, they're there to oppose for a reason. And if they can get you back here, they will. But it's up to us if we, the may devour, whether I'm going to receive the attack or not. It's as simple as that. It's whether I'm going to receive it or I'm going to buck back. Now, like I said, I learned this the hard way. And then it makes you think, well, what does pressure really mean? I'm going to get to that in a minute. So now, 40 days, right? The army has drawn up conclusions. Don't tell me they haven't, or I'll tell you what, I fought the first day. Right. They've been creating thoughts for 40 days. Imagine that, 40 days with another army, and bro, they ain't moving. They're not going nowhere. They've drawn up conclusions. They've thought of solutions, but they ain't acting on it. Like, well, no, he's just too big. It's him. It's him. And you're not moving. So can you imagine what that they're actually looking at this guy. It ain't like us talking about him. They're actually witnessing this account. And they're not moving and doing nothing. They're greatly afraid by just him hollering. Man, you talk about fear, anxiety, depression, right back to the beginning where we started. We've gotten ready, but we're just not acting on it. God was not involved with that army. He wasn't. Because if they was, he would have hollered once. And that would have been it. One time. So now, because we were so much more powerful than what we realize. So God gave me this, and this might be a little cliche, but hear me out. How many times have everybody said, I'll think about it? I'll think about it. Say it to you, you don't have to say it out loud, but say it to yourself. Or we'll say, I thought about it. And the older I have gotten and the more I've gotten in this word truly makes me understand I need him more than I ever thought. And no matter what process that it don't matter what. If I'm pumping gas, Lord, help me pump the gas.
Yes.
Help me talk to my friends. Help me do all this. Like, if it wasn't for the grace that we feel now, anybody that's in rejection now, that's what hell's about, is a separation from God. When you don't have that love, you don't have that hope and all that power, that's the true torment. The flames are just a secondary action.
Right, yeah.
Literally. It's a separation from God. But they are able to feel the mercy, which is the only reason why they're breathing. God breathed life into us. God, you're the reason why I'm breathing now, or that I can control my breath.
He said acknowledge Him in all things.
You need to come up here and preach, woman. I'd love to hear you up here. Get you a sermon going. Amen. I receive that. All things. So now, let's change it. Because life and death are in the power of the tongue. There's power in your words. I'll pray about it. Is that a cliche? Come on, like I was sitting there writing it down. I was like, bro, this is pretty good, BJ.
Just pray about it.
I'll pray about it. Or I prayed about it. I came to a conclusion. So I prayed about it. When God isn't involved in every aspect of your life, you will completely go off course. So then when you go back to the army of Israel, they ain't praying about it. They ain't prayed about it. It's all them, what they're going to do, because they're so focused on the armor that they had to prove to wear. They proved that armor, but ain't using it. Completely different type of armor here. But it changes the dynamic of your relationship. It'll change how you hear and how you see. Because they hear in a certain way, but there was somebody else that heard something different. So now, and because we're warriors, we're designed to look at weapons. We're designed to face it. We're designed to step out and be the opposite. That's who we are, man. Like when God made you with so much detail, He put all that power in you. And just as much detail as it took to create you, that's how much detail you have in you to oppose Satan. Yep. Like I can come at you in all kinds of directions. The same way you're doing me, the only difference is that my outcome is I win. It's already been given. So now, but see, if Satan knows he can apply pressure, and if you don't put that pressure in check and crucify it, you're in for a long ride every day. All you got to do is reapply pressure back. You reapply it. So now, you got to get fed up. I've been saying this. I've been on this flipping tables kick. I heard a song about flipping tables, and I've been stuck on it. I was like, why am I stuck on this? It makes no sense, because some people could say, man, you're going too much, BJ. You got to walk out of love, dude. You're being just too rough with the word. Sorry, but I'm feeling in the spirit about flipping tables. In my personal opinion, when Jesus finally comes back, He ain't coming like this. He's coming on a horse. Think about this. It ain't just a man that walks around with praying hands no, I think He's coming to destroy every evil and wicked thing. The man ain't coming back all nice like he was before, in my firm opinion.
He has an eviction notice.
He's fixing to get rid of everything that wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah. To me, that's who that's the Jesus that's coming back. That's right. That's exactly how I feel it. He ain't coming to just, here, let me clean off the table. I'm flipping it. I'm done seeing this. Yeah. Ain't that why the flood came? I'm done. I've given you all this time. It's over. That's how I see it. We have got to get fed up. Even if it calls time to ask for help from somebody else that has been there, then ask for the help from another spiritual leader that is in one accord with you when it comes to the Word of God. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it. Now let's skip down to verse 24. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. Now I'm going to continue reading until verse 29. And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. Man, no taxes, man. I can live for free. And David spake to the man that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? Man, you're not just coming against the army. You're coming against God. Any attack against us is an attack against Him. It's included every time. Let's keep reading. And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I like how he throws up his occupation and what he puts his mind to, and how he's serious about, tending to his sheep. But he wants to throw in, you've come up here and you left your sheep. But you all about your sheep, David, and you going to leave them to come up here? I know thy pride and thy naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. And David said, what have I done? Is there not a cause? On the same team, you want to bring up my job while you ain't doing yours. You want to throw up me and tell me why I ain't doing my job. Bro, the only reason I'm here is because the dude's been talking for 40 days and y'all still standing. What's the point of putting your armor on if you're not going to use it?
That's right.
There's a difference here. Now, you don't have to go to this verse, but I'm going to read it. It's 2 Corinthians 10, 5 and 6. Casting down imagination and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought of the obedience of Christ, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. We cast it down immediately. We make it listen. Because let me tell you, this, the Lord gave me this. You might have heard this, but this is the first time the Lord gave it to me. If you don't learn to cast down your imaginations, you're going to get sucked into somebody else's who hasn't done theirs. You'll receive that imagination that they haven't done. You'll suck it in. You'll receive their imagination if you don't learn to cast down your own.
Yeah, amen.
You start receiving it, right? Somebody come around me with anxiety, but I don't know how to cast anxiety down. Now I'm going to feed off of your anxiety.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn to rebuke it, you'll receive their problems. It's contagious, right? The demonic is so contagious. On the same team, and you coming against me, you want to throw up my job? I'm tending to sheep, bro. You about to go to battle, and you're not even moving. Two different mindsets, two different agendas. Okay, Lord. What you say will be prophetic in your life. Be careful what you prophesy over yourself. You may with detail, we're as Jesus is, we're as Christ is in this world today. What you say over your life, I ain't never going to be nothing. Okay. Apparently you've received it because it started here and it came out of here.
Right.
So you receive that. Now, what if I'm around you and I'm talking like that and you ain't learned to cast down yours? All of a sudden, I'm never going to be anything. There's that imagination. But if you learn to cast it down, then the second you hear somebody else, that's on you. That's on you. I don't receive that. I'm casting you down immediately because if you don't do it now, it'll build up a stronghold. Yeah. And strongholds are like, why is it so strong? Well, you've allowed it to be built. You can't just depend on...
Whatever's bound on earth is bound in heaven. You have to bind it up within you first.
Prophetic.
Don't go no further.
Amen. Do we receive that? It's in us. You're so much stronger than what we realize. Your words are so much more powerful. Imagine what the army was saying to themselves. They were being prophetic to themselves. They were completely on the opposite track because they're not wanting to fight. The man's been hollering 40 days and we're still stuck here. They were speaking to themselves and each other. Which is just a testament because they said what they were saying to them. It's like they were being negative to David. I can imagine they were being negative to themselves. We'll show up to battle, but we're not going to fight. And all of a sudden, you want to show up who tends the sheep, and you want to run your mouth to me? Well, dude, you're not doing anything. Do you realize who he's talking to? He ain't just attacking us; he's attacking God, and we're just standing here. Now I want to go down to verse 34. I'm going to go 34 to 37. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and I took a lamb out of the flock. And when I went after him and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth, and when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion, and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of the Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. Spending time with God, understanding God's promise. You don't come after my flock where I'm coming. He didn't allow one. He leaves 99 to go after the others. Like, my children are my children. You know God looks at you the same exact way. Like any attack against my children, God is ready. It's an insult. You don't come against me and my own. That's how us pastors of our homes. You don't come against my children. You don't come against my wife. But God was with me here. And if you notice, he literally says, well, I'm going to go back up. Whenever he goes after him, goes against him, and he said, I took him. Now, the Philistine is going to be as one of the lion and the bear because he comes against God. You don't attack God. He just no, I'm done hearing it. 40 days this man's talking and we're still standing. David was prepared. He was prepared when he went after him. I mean, think about this. I'm sure that if any, inkling of a thought I would much rather be able to tend to my sheep and not have any opposition. I don't want a bear and I don't want a lion. Seems so much easier with life where I don't have to deal with it. Man, this is life. I don't have to deal with it. But that's just not the world we live in. It's reality. But in David's mind, David was ready. It wasn't a thought. He's using it. And if you notice, he's like, why is he still here? He had the same mindset. I'm getting my sheep back. It was an immediate thing. It was something he was casting down. He casted it down here. That way he didn't receive the anxiety thought when he went to the army. Because he learned to do it here. It ain't contagious to a believer like that. When you're in tune, truly, and it's a constant process. By the time you get to the opposition, you'll be able to see it differently. You'll hear it differently. You react differently. So now it's like he notices, he realizes that. That's why no matter what he said, he even brought up, bro, we're here for the same cause, and you're against me? Seems like you need to cast down some imaginations because you've been thinking this for 40 days. Now you've done built up defeat in your mind and you ain't even fought yet. That's what we do, right? We build up defeat in our mind. We ain't even had the starting line yet. We're already afraid of losing. What do you mean? We're sons and daughters. You don't lose. It's not in there. When God made us, He did not make defeat in us. Victory. Worship fighter, bro. We're worship fighters. Think about that. We are worship fighters. You said worship and warfare go together. In my notes, we are worship fighters. He mentions God in this. He's defied the army of the living God. I'm going to do to him what I did to them. I'm going to take you out. God knows your true potential. He trusts you enough to go through it. That's how you're going to realize who God is. When something comes up, I'm going to walk you through it. I trust you that much because I made you with that much detail. I know you better than you know you. So I'm going to lead you right through it. You're going to understand who I am by this. I'm not going to pull this bear and lion out. We're going to fight this together. Yeah. I'm not going to remove. I love how Noah got to experience the flood. Didn't take him to heaven. He got to see the magnificent power of the flood. I think that's amazing. Didn't remove him, right? He didn't remove David. He didn't go magically take the sheep out of it. No, David was like, I'm going because I know I'm taking with me. And the same thing that happened here, God prepared me for this situation. God prepared me and taught me. All God was showing him was like, hey, I'm going to show you how to fight like I do. To no matter what, I'm going after. That was his mindset. There was nothing else. Like David was prophetic. Notice that. He spoke prophecy. What you say over your life is so vital and so important. You better know what you're speaking. Because it'll come to pass. If you start speaking over your family a certain way, it will come to pass. They feed off of it, especially us leaders. We start saying certain things and acting certain ways. My wife feels it, and then think about that. And my kids feel it. The kids are acting up now. Why? Maybe because mommy and daddy. We all battle giants. We all do. But history repeats itself. We tear down giants. We tear down giants. Yeah, I don't want to be part of the ones that's standing there shaking. But God was showing him how to reapply pressure. Because David seen how Goliath was putting pressure on Israel and wasn't even moving. Another word for pressure is opportunity. That's what pressure means, is opportunity. There's an opportunity to give God thanks. So then when we see the opposition, this is another, okay, ready to worship. Get ready to worship. Worship fighters, right? What did David say? You're attacking God. I'm going to give glory to God. You've come against the whole Israel. You didn't know when you come against me, you come against God. And I'm going to worship my way through it. It's opportunity is another word for pressure. It's opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to, you know what? You're about to show me something. You're about to show me who I really am because you know who I am. You're going to show me that man you designed, that daughter you designed. And I'm going to see it. But the only way for me to see it is if I run up the hill. If I run down, I can't just go halfway up. Because like the army of Israel was running partial the way up and they saw it was just getting harder. Because what? It elevates. The only way to elevate is to face opposition. To face resistance. Thank you for that word, by the way. Resistance. I didn't have it in my notes, but now I'm going to use it. Resistance. We need to use it as... Now, he's taken the situation with his own people. And he's got against Goliath. How much more do you need against you? You ain't just got Satan. Now you got the people you're on the battle line with. And you're facing criticism about it. BJ, you can't just say that. Man, you're going to hurt his feelings. I'm sorry. What are you supposed to say? I've said all that I can, and now you're still mad? That ain't just me being wrong. That's just you being mad. Throw your pride down. You think when I read the Bible that I feel great sometimes? No, because it tells me I'm wrong. All the time the Bible. Don't tell me the Bible. You read the Bible, you're like, I don't want to do that. And that word in the back of your mind is like, you have to do that. But God's not going to force you. Israel, you have to kill him. I don't want to do that. And then you wonder why you're stuck once again back in the same cycle. We are created so much more. That's how strong we are. There's a reason why those attacks are going against Israel. There's a reason why. But Israel, for some reason, it's always... Anytime a president comes up, there's a question that I ask, I know many people do, are you going to defend Israel? Think about that. They ask that every time. You had Obama a long time ago said, we'll confirm through NATO. I remember that. I'm like, what do you mean we confirming? We're not confirming through NATO. Now, there was other presidents before that would and didn't, but I just remember that specifically. We don't confirm nothing through NATO. To heck with NATO. Or to hell with NATO. Think about that. The Bible says we are going to defend Israel at all costs. We should be over there in the front right now ready to go to war with them, and we're not. But we're there just standing there again. Man, I love the fact that just through this sermon, God was showing me you are so much more powerful than what you think and how you lead. I'm not as weak as I thought. But it took me to go up to understand that when it could have been so much easier to go down. But here's the thing. If me as a leader, you as a leader, you as a leader, we start going down, wife and kids are coming down with us. So now I'm coming to a close, so just bear with me here for a minute. Everybody's ready to go home and eat. You have this fight or flight mode. It comes to reacting to panic and all this stuff. You got this fight or flight mode. Why? Why is that? Because flight mode is running. You want to get as far away from as you can. You don't want to face that opposition. But there's another reaction. Fight mode. I think God is showing you, hey, do you know there's a fighter inside you? I think there's something else. Like I designed you to be a warrior. I designed you for these certain things. You're reacting to flight because why? It's easier. I don't want to fight. Because anytime like literally, when you're going through panic and all this stuff, the first reaction is running. It is never fighting. I don't care who you are. You don't want to fight. But it isn't until you fight where it's like that flesh don't want you to do it because it's so much harder. There's a reason why. God is going to show you through that fight mode. You're a warrior. Do not run. There's reactions to fight and flight mode. That's what everybody says. They say if you ground yourself, throw air in your face, throw water in your face because it'll ground you. I'm not receiving the flight. I want the fight mode. That's how you become better. Is you face opponents that are way better than you in basketball. Right? The only way to make you better, go up against a guy like Steph Curry, LeBron, Michael. What was the thing Michael said that he was like, when it come to him in his prime, he hated the fact he didn't get to play with those prime stars? He said, because I felt like I was cheated, I wanted to prove myself that I was better than them. So if anybody wants to watch a documentary on Netflix, it's a really good documentary where he said he wanted it. That's what set Michael apart from every other person. Everybody feared him. But until Kobe Bryant showed up, Kobe was like, I want Michael. I want it. And then look at what Kobe became. Now, we're just looking at basketball here. We're not talking about life. We're just talking about a sport. But Kobe, whenever he showed up in the league, said, I'm the next Michael. That was his reaction whenever he first suited up for the Lakers. I want Michael. Bro, everybody knows Michael's on the court. They feared him. They said Kobe was the only one who didn't. This is just a rabbit trail. When Michael went to the Wizards, Kobe had some Jordans on. And after the game, the Wizards won, and he went up to Kobe and smacked him on the butt and said, you can wear those shoes, but you'll never fill them. That's what he said to him. So this is the Phil Jackson, Shaq era and all this. Well, all week they said Kobe was silent during practice. And now this is Michael Jordan here. We're talking about the greatest basketball player of all time. All week they said, man, Kobe's not even talking in practice. He's not saying one word. What's up with him? And then so they asked Phil Jackson, because they interview him and stuff. And he goes, yeah, apparently Michael said that he'd never fill his shoes. And he said, oh, when's the next time you play him? He said, in a couple of days. They said it is. His mindset changed. He wasn't about to let it get away. So the next game he come up, he put 55 on Michael. 55. Now, regardless of that motivation, it didn't keep him from, hey, maybe I'll never fill the shoes. No, I'm going to fill them and I'm going to put 55 in your face, and there's nothing you can do about it. Larry Bird, what did he used to say? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pop that three, and there's nothing you can do about it. He'd go over there, and it was just beautiful. It didn't hit the rim. It went straight in. That mindset right there, that motivation, like, you can say whatever you want, Satan. I'm going to do the opposite and be better, which is what he does, which is exactly what David does. So now let's go to verse 44 through 47. And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. He's letting him know, there's a reason why I'm here, because I'm done with you talking about God and God's chosen. This day the Lord will deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee, and I will take thine head from thee, and I will give thee carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And I love how he concludes it with, in this verse, and all this assembly, what's around me right now, shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and with spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. Prophetic, and followed through with it. We're going according to God's will, as a fighter, as who we are. Wasn't going to stand no more. You've been talking 40 days too much. Now I'm about to show them. It wasn't about David being exalted. You're coming against God's army. I'm going to let you know who you are, because I know who I am. And I think we know the end of the story. He takes him out. He saw one stone. He saw one opportunity. And that was all he needed. No matter what, we see the opposition. It's nothing but an opportunity to give God glory. In every sense of the Bible, think about that. Daniel in the lion's den was just an opportunity to give God glory. You can't pray. I'm going to pray anyways. Even if I die, you can't stop me from glorifying God. That's where your true inner strength comes from. We are worship fighters. That warfare and worship, it comes together. We are worship fighters. So when you start using the word in the exact same way that Jesus used it when Satan tempted him, he didn't react any other way. He used the word. And if we are more than conquerors, we're the exact same way today. I want everybody to feel so much stronger through the week. I want everybody to just know this is who we are. I ain't going to let it stand. I'm flipping tables today. I want to flip tables every day, because I'm done about the opposition. I went to a podcast and did talk about prayer in school. And, I'm facing opposition with so many. And I'm working on my cousin to receive Jesus because he's like, I just can't deny God. I just don't understand that. And I was just like, well, sitting there trying to work with it and move with it. And then I get a text and I want to read it because I called my dad and was just like, oh my gosh, it's actually working. Like, like really? Like, this is my cousin. And then his brother's he's anti everything. Like literally. So this is what he sent. Let's see, where's it at? Let's see, I want to make sure. All right, so we usually talk to each other on the route. He says, I can't call today because I have a trainee, but I want to let you know that I'm pretty sure I found the answers. I found the answers I've been asking for. I'm ready to start my own journey with God. I said, you've been talking to Jesus? He said, a little bit. We got somewhere. I called Dad. I said, you know that feeling you get if you pop that 3 to win that game? Man. I was like, I'm going to work on your brother next. I told him, I said, your brother's next. My family ain't going to hell. Amen. Give a hand clap for our families, man. You ain't going to hell. You and my family. You ain't going to hell, bro. You can talk against him all the way. And the funny thing is, my cousin, he put a post when my aunt died. He said, you're in a better place. Think about this. You're in a better place. You're reunited with Dad. So I saw that post and I commented, oh, where is that? Well, it's in a better place. Okay. Continue. Where is that? Whatever, man. I can show you the post. We had so many. It was like tons of comments. I was just like, where did they go? You must know they're in a better place. Seems like something's inside you saying they're in heaven. You just don't want to admit it. Do you have that much rebellion in you to where you can't just say, Jesus, I acknowledge who you are? You just so stuck in your own self? How about you just say they're in heaven with Jesus? Because I know both of them believed in Jesus. No, man, whatever, man. And then he messaged my cousin who sent me that text saying, man, BJ's full of something, ain't he? I found that out. You talk about me to my cousin, he'll tell me. I do the same thing. I talk to him all the time. But but behind my back, he messaged him. And now, when me and him, all of a sudden, my cousin wants to call me on the phone and talk to me all the time now. Yeah. I'm like, bro, I'm working on you. And you know it. Even if it's in whatever, you can reject all you want. I'll face a demon, whatever. And I got another podcast coming up where they said, BJ, now I'm not thinking of nothing here. This is ideas that are brought to me, okay? And he said, well, you're like the pastorship ambassador of the podcast. I'm like, bro, I'm just talking about Jesus. It's all I'm doing. Well, we got a guy that's a former youth pastor that has completely left the faith and he's anti-Jesus. And I'm like, okay, cool deal, what's up? All right. I can't be afraid. I said, I've talked to somebody that was a former pastor that said he backslid and was gone. I was like, I already know what he's going to say. Let's do it. Oh, okay. Now this is my cousin that is starting his own journey. You have to look at it the same way, the opposition. All right. Then we'll face it. My family ain't going to hell. And I'm going to say whatever I can to you. Whether you reject it or not is on you, but you're not going to stop me from talking about him. The one thing that Satan can't stop you from is from witnessing, it's from praising, and that right there is our inner strength. And I want to say thank God for His mercy, His power, and His grace. Can everybody give a hand clap for God's mercy and grace, man? Anybody want any prayer? I'm up here. If not, okay. Well, Haley wants to say something. You want the mic? You should wear the mic. It's not official if you don't wear the mic. Well, Haley, say what you're going to say now. I'll pray. Yeah, thank you. Richard, if you're going to play music. Thank you.
Is this has been on my mind for a while now, and I finished the idea a little while back. It's called Faith Through the Eyes of Artwork. And it's kind of just like stepping through the faith journey in the same way you would do any kind of artwork, like music, painting, drawing, anything like that. And you always have to start off with an idea. And that idea always comes from something. It's like whether you're looking at, say, the sky, whether you heard a certain sound or anything like that, you always get the idea from something. And for faith, the seed always comes from something. Whether it be your parents, whether it be a snippet of a song you heard or anything like that. You always get the idea. And not everybody acts on the idea that you get. You'll see the image in your head, but not everybody will feel the need to put it on paper. Not everybody will act on it. But when you do act on it, normally something good always comes. Now, starting an art piece is fairly easy. You'll have a blank canvas, and then you'll pick a base color, and you'll just cover the whole canvas with that one color, and that'll be your base. And you'll still have that idea in your head, that picture. And then, once you get your base done, you'll have all your tools laid out in front of you, and you'll be like, I can do this. I can put this perfectly on this canvas the exact way I want. And then you'll start doing the outline, and you'll realize something's off here. It's not precisely where I want this to be, or this is moved a little over sideways. And then once you get the outline done, and you're looking at it, and you're like, it's not exactly where I pictured, but we'll keep going. We'll see if it fixes itself. You'll keep working at it and everything, and then you'll mess up. Something will go wrong, like you'll move the brush over a little too far, and then it'll be a mistake right there. That'll be this. And the rest of the time you're looking at that canvas, you're just like, I messed up right there. And that'll be in your head through the entirety of the rest of the time you're working on this art piece. You're like, I messed up. And then hopefully you'll keep working at it. You'll keep going. You'll try to fix it. The way you'll guide it and everything, and then somewhere along the way you'll look at it and you'll just be like, I did mess up right there, but it's kind of fitting a little better. And that color's wasn't quite what I wanted. But I think it looks a little better than when I pictured it. Amen. Just a little bit. And then you'll keep working at it, and you'll put in the effort, and once you finish, you'll step back and look at it, and it'll be completely different from what you had in your head at the start. It'll be that picture you had in your head, it'll be completely different. Nothing like what you pictured. Like the base will still be there, what got you started on it will still be there. And you can see the idea. You can see the idea only